I have one, just one that's...
All right. Licensing Committee for Tuesday, May 28th. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Counselor Field?
Present.
Present Counselor Hogan?
Present.
Present Counselor Net?
Present.
Present Counselor Alensuk?
Present.
Present Counselor Meji Madre?
Present.
New taxi operators.
Yeah,
New
we have a
license.
new taxi operator, Pedro Patricio, 11 Olney Place.
Mr. Patricio, are you here? Mr. Patricio, are you in attendance? What is the wish of committee?
Patricio Pedro.
Second.
What'd you say?
What's the motion?
Motion.
The table.
Motion to
Motion to
table. We have a
table.
motion to table. We have a second. We have a second. It's non-debatable. All in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
That license is tabled.
Okay, the second operator is Ravello Lopez.
Mr. Lopez is here. Thank you.
Motion to
You have
approve.
a motion.
Second.
To approve. Second. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That license is granted. Mr. Lopez, your license will be ready in the clerk's office on Thursday after 8:30. Okay, thank you for being here.
We have a new livery company, Jess Addison Limo LLC, owner Abra Assad.
Mr. Hassan's here. What's the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, any discussion? None, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That license is granted. Your new livery license will be available Thursday morning after 8:30 in our clerk's office. Thank you.
And the other livery company is Rex Transportation, owner Hazabado Abbas Ali Imbram.
Motion to
We
approve.
have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second, any discussion? None, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? That is granted. Your license will be ready Thursday after 8:30 in our clerk's office. Thank you.
We have a new flammable license for 38 Bennett Street, GVW Inc.
Anybody here representing GVW Inc.? Yeah? Any questions from any of the committee members? None? Okay. What's the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That flammable license is granted. Thank you.
We have 34-36 Riley Way, Demarcus Enterprises.
They called ahead of time to say that he was not feeling well. Do you have any questions on that, Councilor Hogan?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That license is granted.
Okay, we have a auto repair flammable renewal with a request to change some of the stipulations. 407 Essex Street, Mellows Tire and Auto Service.
Councilor Matul, do you want to speak on that at all? Councilor Matul, that's your ward, correct?
Thank you. Yes, this is my ward. After speaking to yourself and a couple of colleagues, and I spoke to my constituent as well, I would like to table it, please.
Motion
Second.
to table, second and non-debatable. All in favor to table?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That motion, request is tabled. Thank you. Thank you, Councilor.
Okay, and the rest are renewals.
Take them as a whole if we can, please. What's the wish of the committee on the renewal?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Second. Any discussion? None. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All those renewables are granted. Any other business, Madam Clerk?
I have no new business.
No new business? What's the wish of the committee?
A motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on the adjournment? None. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, yeah, it's time.
I call to order Public Property and Parks Committee agenda for Tuesday, May 28th. Roll call, please.
Counselor Chakutis?
Present.
Present. Counselor LaPierre? Absent. Counselor Net?
Yes, present.
Present. Counselor Matul? Counselor Matul? So I am here.
All right.
And Counselor Alanson?
Present.
All right, first on the agenda,
Yep, the first is a request from Bike to Sea for the use of Linear Park along the Northern Strand Trail for an introduction to gravel riding. An event and group ride at the Bike to Sea and North Shore Cycle are hosting on Saturday, June 15th, 2024.
is Agnes here from, Agnes, could you come up, please? Could you just state your name and your address?
Hi, Agnes Ricardo, Program Manager with Bike to the Sea. Address is 197 Clifton Street, Apartment 2, Malden, Massachusetts.
And thank you. Would you like to explain exactly what this is about?
Yes. Bike to the Sea, the nonprofit organization, is partnering with North Shore Cycle, the local bike shop here in Lynn, to hold a introduction to gravel riding event on Saturday, June 15th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. For the first couple of hours, it would be registration, bike safety checks, and then the actual riding will start around 10 a.m. to noon, going from the linear park to Lynn Woods, through the fire roads over there in the Lynn Woods, and then back to Linear Park, where we'll have lunch, bike demos from North Shore Cycles, and bike giveaways, and just kind of hang out there for a little bit.
All right, thank you. You can have a seat. If we have any questions, we'll have you come back up.
Okay.
Well, why don't you wait 1 minute? Does anybody have any questions? No? All right, you can have a seat if you want. All right, what is the wish of the committee?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I need to vote on this? I'm sorry, we have to vote on this. Oh. I have to have a vote on it.
Okay. Counselor Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor LaPierre, absent. Counselor Net?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Matul?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Alanson?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, and there's one other thing on the agenda?
Don't.
No, that's it? Okay, that's it. What's the wish of the committee?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second? All in favor? have it.
No boy. Fine.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Ways and Means Committee meeting. Madam Clerk, I call the meeting to order. Please, roll call.
Counsel Net?
Present.
Present Counsel Hogan?
Present.
Present Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
Present Counsel Walsh?
Present.
Present Counsel Field?
Present.
Madam Clerk, could you please read a transfer with the emergency?
We have $2,250,000 from free cash to the Pickering Middle School.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. $1,250,000 from free cash to the school ops stabilization.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
$1,200,000 from free cash to the statutory buyout account.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. $500,000 from free cash to the OPEB trust account.
Motion to approve?
Ms. Clerk,
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
$211,000 from free cash to the 53-week stabilization fund.
Motion approved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
$406,000 from reserve to the health insurance expense account.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. $325,000 from reserve to the Lynn Fire payroll.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
$50,000 from reserve to the care of dog expense.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. $26,000 from reserve to the parking expense.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Certified funds, please.
$2,256,019.56 to improve the water quality at Kings Beach.
Motion.
Here, second.
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 Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. $66,204 to the school department for the FC 186 Title III immigrant grant.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes.
Last one, please.
$37,858.60 to the school department for the FC 435 senior intern and education grant.
Motion approved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Mr. Controller, all emergency.
Can I take a picture of that?
Yes, if we could all have these as emergency as we get ready to close the fiscal year.
Thank you.
Approve for emergencies.
Yeah, you have a motion for emergency.
Motion for emergency.
We hear second.
Second.
Roll call on emergency.
Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, any new business?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Pound.
It was delicious.
55 gallons of gasoline. Four fish.
That's why it's $45 a pound.
To call the May 28th council meeting to order. Roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Present.
Present Counsel Chakutis?
Present.
Present Counsel Field?
Present.
Present Counsel Hogan?
Present.
Present Counsel LaPierre?
Present.
Present Counsel Matul?
Present.
Present Counsel McLean?
Present.
Present Counsel Meany? Present Counsel Meji Madre?
Present.
Present Counsel Net?
Present.
Present Counsel Walsh?
Present. Would we all rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance?
Mr. President, if we can remember the Papathanasi family and the family of Phil Brooks.
Mr. President, special prayers for Gloria Collins.
Special prayer for the people who drowned this week as well, please.
Special prayer for Bill Walton. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag
United
States of America.
To the
To the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to accept the minutes from May 14th.
Motion to accept.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Accepted. Communications.
We have no communications.
Public hearings.
We have no public hearings.
Oh, we're moving right along here tonight. Public hearings to be set down.
Okay, we have to set down a public hearing on June 11th, 2024, on the FY25 City of Lynn budget. Set down a public hearing on a bond order to purchase the Eastern Bank Building at 195 Market Street. Set down a public hearing for the City of Lynn's FY25 Annual Action Plan. Set down a public hearing for renewal of all extended hour and 24-hour licenses in the City of Lynn. Set down a public hearing on Tequila's Bar and Grill, Inc., 80 Central Ave, for permission to add a pool table for entertainment and to expand the premises into 138 Liberty Street. And finally, set down a public hearing for a grant of location by National Grid for Courier Road and Deer Cove Street.
So wish of the council?
Set them down.
Set 'em down.
Motion them down. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Set them down. Committees, licensing, Councilor Field.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have a unanimous vote by our committee. I make a motion to approve.
Unanimous vote.
Second.
Committee. Motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Public properties, Councilor Jacutis.
Unanimous vote of the committee requests for Bike to See to use Linear Park.
All right, so we've motioned to let them use the park. We have a second.
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 All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let them use the park. Ways and Means, Councilor Net.
Yes, Mr. President, all unanimous vote of the committee, I make a motion to approve. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. Second. We have the clerk read what needs to be read in.
We have transfers that were laid over from May 14th. $76,100 from reserve to the insurance account premiums, $15,000 from reserve to the comptroller for outside professional work, $2,457 from reserve to the License Commission to fund the item fully, $690,000 from ISD payroll to ISD expense to fund department needs, $236,325.25 from DIA reimbursed expense to workers' comp expense, $96,706 from DIA reimbursed expense to capital account munis expense, $23,183.17 from revenue sharing expense to capital account munis expense, $40,000 from the election expense to the election payroll to fund precinct payroll costs. The transfers that we have right now, $2,250,000 from free cash to Pickering Middle School, $1,250,000 from free cash to School Ops Stabilization Fund, $1,200,000 from free cash to statutory buyout account, $500,000 from free cash to the OPEB trust account, $211,000 from free cash to the 53-week stabilization fund, $406,000 from reserve to the health insurance expense account, $325,000 from reserve to the Lynn Fire payroll, $50,000 from reserve to the care dog expense, $26,000 from reserve to parking expense. In the certified funds, we have $2,256,019.56 to improve the water quality at Kings Beach, $66,204 to the school department for the FC 186 Title III immigration grant, $37,858.60 to the school department for the FC 435 senior intern and education grant.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion on that? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Field?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Hogan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Matul?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel McLean?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Meany? Yes. Counsel Meji Madre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Net?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh.
Yes. Councilor Net, there was an emergency on that, I believe?
Yeah, this all, the committee voted for emergency for all of them.
Okay,
Thank
so you
you.
make a motion for emergency. We have a second on the emergency?
Second.
Second. Roll call.
Counsel Alanson.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Matul.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel McLean.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Meany. Yes, Counsel Meji Madre.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh.
Yes. Any old business? Any new business? Council LaPierre.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce a council order to request the Law Department to draft an ordinance increasing the salary of members of the Lynn City Council by $3,750 per year, commencing on January 6, 2026, and an additional $3,750 per year, commencing on January 4, 2027. Said ordinance shall also increase the annual salary of members of the Lynn School Committee by $3,625, commencing on January 6, 2026, and an additional $3,625, commencing on January 4, 2027. Further ordered that a public hearing shall be sent down on June 11, 2024, regarding said proposed ordinance. I introduce that as a council order.
So we have a motion as a council order. We have a second on it.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on it? Roll call.
Counsel Alanson.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Field.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Hogan.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Matul.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel McLean.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Meany. Yes, Counsel Meji Madre.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net.
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh.
Yes. Set it down. Any other new business? Councilor Field.
Thank you, Mr. President. I feel it's my responsibility as Chair of the Public Safety and Public Health for the City Council to speak on this topic. I know Councilor Matul mentioned it during the moment of silence about the deaths on Saturday evening. Saturday evening? Yeah. Sunday evening, I apologize. Sunday evening, this past weekend. I know we don't know for sure whether there was a medical emergency or what in regards to both deaths that happened on those waterways within our city. I know I was present for the one that happened at Breeds Pond. Breeds Pond being one of the city's reservoirs where there are signs posted, no fishing, no swimming, no boat craft on these ponds, and there's a reason for that. When I heard the sirens in my neighborhood, it's certainly, it seems to be this time of year that when the temperatures start to get warmer, people want to choose to go to Lynn Woods for recreation. And certainly, why wouldn't you want to? It's a 2,200 acre forest right here in an urban community, and not many families in our community have the privilege of maybe getting away to another area that's much safer. Say, for example, New Hampshire or Maine, where some families do tend to recreate too. I noticed a number of families in my own neighborhood that make their way into the woods with coolers and backpacks and small children and grills and bags of charcoal. And I know when the call came in and my wife and I heard sirens in the neighborhood, just listening to the scanner, the area that was first mentioned happens to be right behind my house. So I made my way down to that area. The actual area was probably closer to Councilor Chakutis' house on Breeds Pond. And I want to commend the men and women from the Lynn Fire Department and the men and women from the Lynn Police Department. Their efforts were nothing short of remarkable, risking their own safety, fully dressed in their uniform, entering unsafe areas of the reservoir, doing their best to recover someone that shouldn't have been in the water. what they did, what I witnessed, is, like I said, it was remarkable. The bravery, they did everything they could to save this person. But this particular area, again, like I mentioned, it just seems to be so much this time of year. And we've seen it year in and year out. And I just want to ask that we draft a letter requesting that the park ranger just visit all the entrances to the woods and see how we can improve our message that recreation is certainly allowed. But as far as the other things that I mentioned, as far as cookout grills and charcoal and alcohol and swimming and boating and fishing, there's a reason why those ordinances exist to prohibit those activities. I ask that we send a letter to the park ranger to try to figure out a way that we can improve that message, whether it's multilingual signs, more visible signs at all entrances of the woods, so that maybe, just maybe, that we can improve this so it doesn't happen again.
So we have a motion to improve the signage and ask for the letter to go. We have a second. We're going to go to the park ranger with that and have him investigate it first. Because a motion, second, the discussion on it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, send it. Any other new business?
Mr. President, I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second, all in favor?
I can tell you that folks in Puerto Rico are constantly being asked to kind of meet the gap between sort of the resources and institutional dysfunctions and the need for adapting to things like, major hurricanes. And many communities in Boston have similar experiences as well. And we saw this with COVID pandemic, where there was disproportionate experiences and responses and lack of resources in certain neighborhoods that meant that some neighborhoods, it took longer for them to recover from the impacts of the pandemic. So what we are interested in is then, on the one hand, well, what is social resilience? What does that look like? How can we build it? How does it fit into the broader picture of climate resilience that also includes, of course, infrastructure that protects people? And number two, well, what are people doing in this realm? So the folks whose job it is to build a more resilient Boston, how are these different conceptions of resilience actually being envisioned and integrated? And who's doing what might need to change. So the project that I'll share, a few slides about came as a result of us wanting to even understand what the lay of the land was in relation to this question of how is social resilience and, let's say, physical resilience, for example, kind of unfolding and being integrated in Boston. And so I'll take a moment to just explain how we created these graphs. I won't spend a lot of time on that, but it'll be helpful for understanding, this and a couple other slides that I'll share. So I'm a social network analyst, and this is a method that tries to map out the social structure in any given community or the social environment that surrounds individuals. And essentially what this means is that we talk to individuals about the people who they know, and then we go through a few different steps to then understand of all those people who they know, how are they connected to each other? In the case of this project, we were interested in how folks who are working in climate resilience are collaborating with each other. So that was the ties that we were interested in, the relationships. Are they collaborating, meaning sharing time, resources, expertise on a joint project related to climate resilience or climate justice. And we reached out to almost 300 people working in this field. We got just under 200 responses back. And what we did was, we had this long list of all those folks, and we asked them, do you work with these individuals on climate resilience projects? Have you worked on COVID-19 related stuff? Because when we started this out, we were kind of in the thick of the pandemic. And then we used that to build maps. And that's what you see here. This is a social network map that has information about the structure, so who's working with who, and then what are characteristics of those individuals. So this graph here is colored based on the organizational type of the individuals in that map. So you'll see, for example, there's quite a lot of yellow there. These are individuals who work for nonprofits. You have lots of folks in the public sector and in the private sector as well who are collaborating or interacting. So this map actually was at an earlier stage of the project. So we built that map actually in response to the invitation to kind of join this book. But later on, we continue to collect data. And this is what the map looks like when you have the full 187 or so people who responded to the survey. And what immediately jumps out is something that we heard anecdotally from folks who work in climate resilience space, which is that there are silos in this work. Where individuals and organizations who are moving forward social resilience goals are on one side of the map, and those individuals who are primarily focused on kind of great infrastructure projects, physical resilience projects are on the other side of the map. And there is some overlap across these different types of resilience. So let me talk about the social resilience side, which is what you see there on the right, and you have lots of nodes in kind of that reddish pink color for the social resilience. So what kinds of projects are they working on? And how are they related to climate resilience overall? Well, we're talking about community-based grassroots organizations that work on a range of issues. It could be youth development, housing insecurity, food insecurity, things related to transportation justice, several environmental justice organizations where that is a primary mission, but that they are flexible in that they do other sorts of works. And we actually saw this, and this shows up in the chapter, when we look at the question of are you responding to the COVID-19 pandemic, what we saw is that many organizations working climate resilience really did pivot, and they worked with their existing networks and social resources to redirect attention to responding to COVID. And that's what we want to see in a really resilient community, which is a kind of nimbleness, the ability to leverage existing social connections in response to crisis. And there are a few kinds of layers to these social connections. At the individual level, we want individuals to have kind of varied social networks where they have both close relationships and people they can count on in times of crisis, but also maybe looser, weaker connections to individuals who can bring in resources that otherwise wouldn't be part of their network. So we want that at the individual level, that kind of adaptability. At the neighborhood level, we want robust community-based organizations that are collaborating with each other and sharing resources, information, for example, or that have good linkages to institutional actors or to city governments, for example. so that there is information and access to resources and other kinds of benefits that come from these social resources. And then in the broader city level, what social resilience might mean, and this is one of the things we're actually, we haven't arrived at that question because that's one of the things we want to better understand, and we've had multiple conversations about these maps over the years, is, do we want a city in which these silos do not exist? Such that when there are folks working on physical resilience project, that they're actually working hand in hand in terms of decision-making, governance structure input with the community-based organizations at the grassroots level that are closest to kind of the community members who would be most impacted by a project, right? And some might say, well, that actually sounds like a great ideal. And certainly when we looked at this, we were like, this seems too bifurcated. It means that there's a kind of isolation of social resilience projects. Many of them, and I think I have that here. Oh, no, I didn't. Actually, you can actually see it divided by race, and we had a commentary in the Boston Globe related to this, that, part of what we don't see here is that, the sort of ethnic and racial diversity is actually in the social resilience side, and that on the physical infrastructure side, you see it's primarily a white space and white networks and so on. So what are the implications of that? So that's sort of underlying this as well. And so on the one hand, we might say, well, this doesn't seem ideal. We don't want silos. We want better integration. We want physical infrastructure folks to work with grassroots organizations. But we also heard from folks who said, well, actually, maybe we do want a little bit of that separation. Why? Well, for example, there's a way in which grassroots concerns and agendas might be co-opted by these other kinds of agendas. And so maybe we want to have a little bit of that separation so that we have kind of autonomy and integrity in the kinds of goals that we're moving forward related to what community needs on the ground might be. So these are just an example of a few different questions that emerged from us, which was primarily about, well, what would be an ideal kind of structure that would have us have a social system that you have reduced vulnerability, you have greater capacity to cope to shocks, the potential for transformation of inequality and injustices, and so, what might the ideal look like? And then what kinds of projects and initiatives might we need in the city to actually move towards that ideal? So we heard, for example, about alternative governance structures that more closely tie together community-based organizations with sort of, for example, city-based project, and really bake in sort of these relationships into the governance and decision-making structures of city projects, as an example. We heard also about the importance of fostering more individuals, like, let me see if we can see. Yeah, I think this is probably where you can see that. You see there are some nodes in the middle. These are the individuals who are bridges. They bring together both sides of these spaces by virtue of the roles that they occupy, within their organization. And so do we want to create more bridges? So maybe the ideal is not to merge those silos together, but to create more roles and to build capacity in individuals to be these bridges that can help with the translation that is needed to kind of better communicate community priorities to resilience, like physical resilience projects. So I will leave it there, and happy to answer any questions you might have later.
Thank you, Rosalind. I love these diagrams. They were almost the cover of the book because they are such a metaphor for so many of the themes as connections, overlaps, strengthening those links and those bridges. Before Idea City became the title, it was Unconventional Conventions. Doesn't really roll off the tongue, but the goal was to ask each author to suggest how are things done now and what might be an unconventional approach. I want to leave time for questions, so I'm just going to go through the last few themes a little bit more quickly. I mentioned that the initial group of contributors were friends or people I wanted to know better. The list grew over time as the themes also increased, and was able to convene a conversation with Amari, Marie Francis, James Jennings, and Maria Elena Latona about issues of equity and race and the economy. And this image from the King Memorial came out just as the opening. This image was available because it was February 2023 when it was finally unveiled, and they just captured this photograph. And you know, they're very straightforward, that we need to be much more aggressive in recognizing the systemic racism that has been in the region and in our culture, and what are some short-term ways that we can overcome that and increase the conversation. Ted Landsmark, you may be familiar with this image. He's received a number of accolades recently. Amazing photograph as he was a newly minted lawyer going to City Hall for another event and stumbled upon the busing riot and getting attacked by the American flag. And so Ted's essay is also, I think, very assertive about kind of recognizing these challenges and finding more short-term sort of pilot ways to overcome issues of equity and increase the dialogue in our neighborhoods. Arts, honestly, wasn't even a topic initially. And in this instance, Kate Gilbert from Now and There sort of recognizes that there's a lot of busts and sculptures of white men on horses and our past. We need to be more tactical in finding ways to express our art and our culture. That can be done in temporary ways. So a lot of her work, in fact, her firm finds ways to get art in the public domain that might be a little bit edgy, but also not permanent, again, helping to move the discourse around arts. Health, I'm embarrassed to say, this was pre-COVID, was not a topic initially, and so boy did COVID really put a screeching halt on development, and maybe helped us reflect on priorities, and even paradoxically placed greater value in the public realm and the spaces where we do convene, and how can those spaces be created that are safer. Their essay looked specifically at air quality in Chinatown, which bears the brunt of the highways that are directly adjacent to them, and so there was an interesting overlap with COVID, this terrible pandemic that you can't see and yet affects us all. So their essay was also research-based about particulates in air quality that you can't see, but are a product of the infrastructure that bound this very dense neighborhood in Chinatown. And lastly, it's hard to see in this image per se, but there's a little harbor seal here on the dock in the foreground. Dan and Marie Law Adams talk about the fact that, and to wrap up with this notion of uses that are in greater proximity, we no longer have the tannery next to the housing. Maybe it's possible for there to be what they call productive frictions between uses. And if we continue to build new luxury housing on the shore fronts and the harbor fronts, what that does is displace the industries that help serve those economies. And we're doing harm by moving those service industries, the industries farther and farther afield. So the idea that perhaps uses can intermingle, and they worked on a great project in Chelsea on the salt piles that became a remarkable public space when it's not being used for salts. So in aggregate, 11 essays. I'm haunted a little bit by themes that aren't there, like, boy, education. How could you not think of that? But hopefully this collection starts to advance the conversations that are already happening in the different silos and thinks about more productive relationships between them. And with that, I'll turn it back to Elizabeth for any questions. Thank you. Okay.